truth about scaling to 7 figures is that you're the bottleneck. It's not the market, it's not your team, it's normally you. You scale because of the things you're finally willing to stop doing. Your identity has to change way before your revenue does. No one's going to save you. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I actually put a few videos out back on YouTube, probably like 10 years ago, where I used to believe I was a fitness influencer. And I used to do it in my kind of spare time while I was building my career in wealth management. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dan Thompson. I'm a chartered international wealth manager. So I have a wealth management business and also a few other businesses, and mainly help a lot of people with their money, and also do a lot of mentorship and coaching and advising outside of the wealth management firm. Today, I want to kick things off and talk about the truth about scaling to 7 figures, either really from a net worth perspective or from a revenue perspective as a founder, as a business owner. This will be one of a number of videos I'm going to try and launch over the coming months. I've been asked by friends, family, clients to put content out for a long time now, and it's just took time to get around to it. And I suppose also had the courage to get back onto YouTube and do this sort of stuff. So hopefully this first video helps a lot of people out. The truth that nobody tells you really is, as a founder, you are the main constraint typically of your business, and you need to learn to get out of your own way. So you're the bottleneck. It's not the market, it's not your team, it's not the product, it's normally you as the founder. And the sooner you kind of realize addressing those sort of issues, the quicker you can scale to kind of 7 figures. You don't scale to 7 figures because of what you do. It's normally you scale because of the things you're finally willing to stop doing. It's probably the best way to describe it. Here's the parts that nobody really talks about when it comes to scaling to 7 figures as a founder, as a business owner. The first thing you've got to do is learn to give up control. And that's really hard when you drove the business today to a certain point. You know, you've got to be willing to hand over the control to your team, to processes, systems that you build within the business. And if you wait until you're comfortable enough to delegate, you're never going to scale. You need to do it way before you really get that feeling. And something I've had to learn over the years, and probably did learn a little bit too late. Growth requires trust. That is trusting your team, the people you work with, the processes, the structure behind your business, even if the systems aren't perfect. The second one, which is a really sad truth, is that you will outgrow people who you like, and they are good friends, they are early employees, because the people who helped you get to 20k a month or 100k a month are not going to be the same people that are going to get you to £500,000 a month. Letting go isn't personal. You need to take the emotion out of it, and it is, however, absolutely necessary. Number 3 is you must start to learn to eliminate more than you add. And the saying I always kind of use when I'm doing mentorship, advising for individuals or corporates is it's more about subtraction than adding more complexity to your business. So that means less firefighting, less saying yes to people, less getting pulled into the weeds, and less emotional reactivity. And that is something sadly I've not quite mastered yet. You know, as a business owner, day to day running a business, you get sucked into all sorts, and it's hard to not get frustrated, stressed, but making decisions out of emotion is not a good way to operate as a business owner, as a founder, and you're never about to scale to 7 figures by doing so. So you've really got to master that, and elimination is essentially a huge superpower when it comes to scaling businesses. So number 4, another truth that people don't really make you aware of when you start out in businesses, your identity has to change way before your revenue does. And what I mean by that is you can't scale as an operator. You need to learn to scale and transition into an owner of a business. The best way I can describe this is owners think in terms of systems and processes, whereas operators think in terms of tasks. If you're solving everything essentially yourself, you're the system, and you're always going to be the bottleneck. And a human system is not scalable. Processes, systems, SOPs, for example, are all scalable. The 5th kind of truth, which a lot of people don't talk about a lot, is the real work is internal, it's psychological. Your insecurities, your need for control as a founder, as a business owner, especially when it's your baby, you've built it over loads of years, the fear of failure, associating being busy with being productive, it's just simply not true. And that's what keeps a lot of business owners under 7 figures and not being able to scale, let alone get to 8 or 9 figures. The strategy is actually the easy part. The psychological element of being a business owner, a founder, is a lot more challenging, and that's kind of a hard truth that a lot of people don't tell you when you start your journey in business. The 6th truth is you need to be boringly consistent. Everyone wants these sexy tactics on how to grow a business, how to get rich quick or build wealth quick. And when it comes to 7 figures, the only way you can scale and get to that sort of level is by having weekly rhythms, monthly KPI meetings, compounding decisions, clear financials, tight processes, systems that don't just rely on your mood or motivation, but are based on discipline and structure. Finally, number 7, no one's going to save you. And this is like probably one of the hardest to come to realize as a founder. If you want elite results, you need elite habits. You need elite standards. You need elite boundaries. You need to operate and move different than everyone else. If you didn't, you would get the same results simply as everyone else. That famous saying, to be in the top 1%, you need to act like the top 1%. If you do what 99% of people are doing, you're going to get the same results as the majority. So no mentor, no coach, no operator can run the business for you. They can give you the map, but you still have to climb the mountain yourself. You're on your own, and no one is going to go and fix those major problems in the business or care as much as you do as a business owner. 7 figures isn't a strategy milestone. It's a personal evolution as a founder, as a business owner. And once you become the kind of founder who can accept these truths, who can handle that, the money will follow. It has a gravitational pull. I hope that first video is useful, and I have plenty more to come over the coming months.